Worried about what your child is texting from their cell phone? New software now helping parents monitor kids' cell phones and alert you when troubling messages are sent or received.
My main concerns are predators that just send out the random texts and try to see who's going to respond. And the kids answer back because they think it might be a friend, and then they start a conversation, and sometimes that leads to other things.
That's terrifying. My daughter's already asking me. She's only 8. She's asking me, when am I going to get a cell phone? I looked at her yesterday, said, never. I'm not getting a cell phone. Borrow someone else's phone if you need to call me. You're not getting a phone. And she looks at me with these big, saucer eyes. Not happening. You're lucky if you're even going to ever have access to a computer in my house. We're going to move to the woods. That's where we're going. We're just not.
She's going to learn the abacus.
I'm just checking out. We're going to live off the land. We're going to have a garden. We'll get some tips from Michelle about that White House garden. She spent so much time tilling the soil herself. So we'll be doing all that, okay? Joining us now, and by the way, there are a lot of people on the line who want to talk about the medical marijuana issue. I will get to your calls. Be patient and try not to toke up while you're on hold, okay? So just be patient. But I guess if you're toking up, then you're calmer during this wait period. So maybe I should, I just relax. I'll get to your calls. All right. Bob Loader is with us now. He's the CEO and founder, chief inventor of the e-agency Mobile Security. He's the inventor of My Mobile Watchdog app, which is kind of all the rage now for parents who want to be able to track what their kids are doing online, even the location of their kids, given what we know about online predators and their voracious appetite to get kids in their grips. And it's a parent's worst nightmare. Joining us now, I'm delighted he's with us, Bob Loader. Bob, how are you? Good to talk to you.
Hi, Laura. Honored to be here. I'm a longtime listener, so
fantastic.
Great.
So you're one of these app people. So did you write the code for this app yourself, or do you have some underpaid poor Indian guy in Mumbai do it? Did you do it yourself?
Oh, I wish I had underpaid people doing it. No, we have a lot of engineers. They're very talented people, and we're in California, so you can imagine that it's definitely not a low-wage state.
Okay, well, good. I hope not. I want to check on those wages of American people, make sure they're getting good salary. But tell us about how this works, because a lot of parents are very worried about this. And like I get emails, and I guess there's phishing emails that look like they're from someone's address that you know. By the way, one of my friends, Pete, just walked in. I once got an email from Pete who apparently he was hacked because it wasn't really from him, and I didn't click on it. But I'm just paranoid about any links. I never click on anything. So anytime my staff sends me something, I never click on it. But that's what parents are worried about, right? Sucking kids into the mix.
Yeah, well, the number one most important thing that parents need to understand is who is in their child's life. Now, there's a lot of different dangers, and our product really came from a law enforcement application that we developed about 8 years ago called Radar. And we did it as a favor, and it had to do with a case with an 11-year-old girl who met an adult at a water world park, and they exchanged cell phone numbers, and then, the lewd pictures started coming. And back in those days, there was really no way for parents to monitor that activity. So since we've released that product to law enforcement, we've had nearly 2,000 convictions of child predators. So the thing about our application is it's designed from the ground up as a law enforcement application, and it's designed to capture this information that happens on your child's phone so that it's fully enforceable in a court of law or by law enforcement. So how we do that is we forensically collect in real time everything that happens on the phone. And then we give the parents the ability to receive real-time alerts. So say, for example, the child receives one of these unsolicited text messages. Mm-hmm. Within seconds, the parent's going to get an alert on their phone, and it's going to say, your child just received an unauthorized text message from somebody you don't know, and here's what the message says. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine that gives the parents the ability to act instantaneously on that.
Well, why wouldn't a parent have this? I mean, this is just obvious.
Well, I think today that we rely a lot on education. We think that we're going to educate our kids, but a lot of parents need to realize that it's not that kids are bad, it's not that they're dumb, it's that they make they make decisions that aren't based on experience that we have. So a good example of that is we had a 12-year-old who went to the movies and left his cell phone home, and while he was gone, his parents happened to take a look at it. And there were a bunch of these unsolicited text messages from some stranger and some bad pictures. And the young boy was telling the person to leave him alone. So when he came home and the parents confronted him with the phone and said, Joey, why didn't you come to us? His answer was, I thought you would take my phone. So it's important for parents to understand that kids will tell kids things, and they won't tell parents things. And they won't tell them for the wrong reasons.
So what do you do when you get that information? So as a parent, you find out someone is sending photos. That instantly goes, I would hope, to the authorities, right? I mean, first of all, if I could track who that person is, I'd be at his front door in about 5 seconds if he was in the vicinity. I mean, I would be dangerous to be given this information, because I'd become like the Cape Crusader going after these people. But parents, I would imagine, just call the police.
Well, rightfully so, Laura, but let me say this. The majority of these pictures today are going to come from other children, by the way.
Lovely.
And so a small portion of them are coming from predators. The huge distribution of child pornography today is coming from children to children sexting. And so it's very likely if you were to receive a picture like that that's inappropriate, it's probably another child. And so you would contact the school or the parent. Yeah,
something like that. So, I mean, I had to do the wiener joke. It's just so easy. It's so ridiculous. I sometimes I get Elliot Spitzer and Wiener mixed up because they both had a little problem in the past. So, but for different reasons. So, okay. So you've been on Dr. Phil and all these shows talking about this. What has been the reaction in the parenting and law enforcement community? Because law enforcement uses this technology as well. Parents can just go to your website. I know it's mymobilewatchdog.com. You get a free trial of the of the app. And what does it cost to buy the app?
Oh, it's about $4 a month, and you can block applications. You can time block the device so they can't text after when they're supposed to be sleeping at night. You can locate them. There's a lot of various things, but there's one other thing I wanted to mention. There's another danger there besides the stranger danger, the predator, and the cyberbullying, and that is applications that are on the child's device today. More than half of applications on these devices violate their permissions once they're there. So they steal the child's location data, they steal their contacts, they read their text messages and their emails.
Is this other apps doing this, or other websites you've? I always see that. Well, the permissions that you have to check to download an app, and that we may use your. I don't like any of this. This is why I don't have any cool apps on my phone either, because I don't like. They always want to use your address book and your contacts, and Twitter is always asking to use your contacts. I'm like, stay away from my contacts, Twitter. I don't want them to take my contacts. that is a danger. But think about it in particular with the children. Now, of these millions of applications that are out there, right,
and there's plenty of studies that more than half of them violate the permission. So they steal data that they'd never asked permission to steal. And by the way, nobody does background checks on these developers. So a child can download a game, and that game could be stealing all kinds of personal information on the child. In fact, they also steal photos off the child's phone. Sometimes the
give me an example.
Child.
Give me an example of when that's happened.
Well, there are applications that will that the children will download to play a game. It's a free app or whatever that will literally go in and copy their pictures, just like Facebook does, or just like Dropbox, or just like LinkedIn. Many of these other applications that you give permission to do that can do that. There's nothing to stop any application from doing it covertly. And this is a danger. We see this all the time in law enforcement.
Jeez.
When you're involved in hundreds of arrests, as I have been, it's shocking to find out how much data they pull off children's phones.
Mm-hmm. And how much did your military background help you in all of this? I mean, how much does that come into play? I mean, with your approach to business, back in 2000, you were the Entrepreneur of the Year in Orange County, California. You've had great success in business, obviously in technology. But that military experience, tell us about that. Well,
the military experience probably to the greatest degree defines who I am as a business person. And when I was approached by my law enforcement friends who I've helped, and I've always been helpful with law enforcement because I when you leave the military, you sort of lose some of that camaraderie that you're used to. So I stayed affiliated, and when I got involved in this very first case, it became a mission for me. So I'm on a mission, and I look at it as a combat zone, and I look at it as the enemy, which is these people that are harming our children, that they need to be stopped, and that's exactly how we approach it.
What was I see that you were the maintenance chief, instructor, and school personnel administrator for the Patriot Missile School. What is that? To explain that to us.
You've heard of the Iron Dome.
Yes, I've
heard of the Iron Dome in Israel, correct?
Yes.
Well, that came from the Patriot missile system, and when I came from a previous nuclear missile system in the military, and when the Patriot system first came out, we trained the very first soldiers in that technology, which later became part of the Iron Dome now, which you hear about all the time.
Now, do you have you were a business major though? So it sounds like you have a big science proclivity and a science background, but didn't you get a business degree from SUNY?
Yeah, it's a business degree, but I'm a geek, Laura. I had a computer before you could buy a computer. I built my own computer.
Oh, you're one of those. I hate.
I'm one of those kind of geeky guys. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
They were always the ones who weren't in sports, and you didn't do any sports in high school, right? Did you do anything?
You busted me. You already figured out all about me.
Yeah, you didn't. You did no sports in high school, so you didn't get any chicks. But then you went into got your degrees, Army. You could always say, "Yeah, honey, I work on the nukes." I work in the nuke program, and then suddenly you're running this big company. It's like, well, you're really cool. Hey, this is a great product. I can see why you've gotten such a huge reaction and a positive one throughout the parenting community in the United States. And congratulations, my mobile Watchdog app. A lot of you have already downloaded it, but consider downloading this, and 20% of any downloads that occur because of the show, all the proceeds go to me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. It's a great product. And hey, Bob, keep in touch with us, especially about interesting cases out there dealing with cybersecurity or things that you're seeing, because you're a great voice. We really appreciate it.
I sure will, Laura. Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll take a break on the Laura Ingrahm Show. We'll get to your calls. Don't worry. Colorado says it has new pot regulations that are going to go into effect that help the enforcement. So if you're getting bad pot brownies, you think that pot cupcake you got just didn't meet your own personal standards, don't worry, because the state enforcers are right on its case. We'll take a break. Get to your calls. Don't go away.
It keeps it so that you can take care of whatever comes up before it becomes a large conflict. Actually gives me a lot more peace of mind knowing that I can see what's going on.
The Laura Ingrahm Show.
Thanks for listening to this podcast excerpt of The Laura Ingrahm Show. If you'd like to receive podcasts of our complete shows, go to lauraingram.com and sign up to become a member of Laura 365. Our Laura 365 members get commercial-free streams and podcasts of our shows every day we're on the air. And also, you can listen to the last 30 days of The Laura Ingrahm Show. Be ahead of the curve. Join Laura 365.